Thanks to no small amount of luck, I managed to get a beta key for the Ghost Recon Wildlands closed beta, which lasted from February 3rd to the 6th. In that time, I was able to put around 4 to 8 hours into it, and given how modern betas function, I think I have some rough idea of the game will be like come March. Let's cover some basics. Wildlands is a third-person action stealth game with 4-player co-op and apparently a PvP system arriving sometime after launch, which I did not see any of in the beta. My experience was primarily of the co-op and solo play. Like in most Tom Clancy games, the bad dudes are drug lords south of the border, apparently from Bolivia. We're mad at them this time, not because they're bad people doing bad things, but that this time they just so happen to do the bad thing to one of our embassies. They have smeared blood on the steps of the Holy Empire, and now they must die. In the full game, you'll be facing down such fearsome gangsters as El Yayo, El Cardenal, and Nidia Flores. These guys apparently run the country to the degree where they even command portions of the military. The practical upshot of this is that there is a GTA-style wanted rating system. Get caught causing trouble for the cartel, and you're gonna get the military on your ass, with tons of troops, Humvees, and helicopter gunships. And the longer you decide to stay in the fight, the stiffer the opposition will get. In addition to having what feels now like a standard wanted system in an open world game, Wildlands also feels in a lot of ways like Far Cry 4, only with a tighter, more difficult stealth system and co-op. First of all, you're typically handing off any assets you capture to the local rebels, who are apparently the well-meaning but undersupplied scrappy band of ragtag idealists that they appear to be. Secondly, Wildlands has a whole bunch of extreme sports vacation stuff. Vehicular hijinks abound. You'll be buzzing around the landscape on dirt bikes, cars, trucks, parachuting out of helicopters and planes, and either avoiding or engaging with random cartel patrols and strategically placed outposts. This is the first Ghost Recon game where you'll be doing drive-bys, vehicle-to-vehicle speeding gunfights, and other somewhat unconventional maneuvers which have been foreign to the series so far. The game also has far more RPG elements than Ghost Recon games of old. Your equipment is fully customizable and you get a ton of it. Pistols, assault rifles, sniper rifles, LMGs, DMRs, SMGs, and all customizable down to the paint job. And they do this cool exploding thing in the menu like this, like Iron Man, yeah! You unlock more gadgets by finding them in the field, and you can interrogate enemy commanders or pilfer enemy intel to find the location of more sweet death toys, as well as the locations of side objectives or as part of your mission. Along with the almost compulsory mounds of guns, you also have at your command a lineup of remote drones, which you can deploy at any time and barring a cooldown timer in any quantity. Even just the basic camera drone is really cool. Crouched in the bushes, you let fly a drone, and are simultaneously hidden from sight, and have an aerial view of your recon target. More upgrades means better drones, more battery life, more range, and from the looks of it, you can upgrade to noisemaker or even explosive drones down the line. The aerial recon is necessary, since Wildlands, despite the high-flying chicanery new to this entry in the series, is at heart a tactical sneaking game. The stealth system is fairly good and fairly fair. If a guard notices you, they'll come in to investigate, and if they see you outright, then of course, alarms and reinforcements. The AI does seem to suffer from psychic guard syndrome. Once one dude sees you, then everybody in a 5-mile radius instantly knows you're there, and will come to hunt you down. It's not even like the one guy who saw you got on a radio or anything. Come on, everybody just knows that South American drug cartels are a hive mind. Duh. Fortunately for your buddies, when you're playing co-op, this alarm state functions on an individual level. If you go and let yourself get caught, the heat will be on you, and all the guys in the area will be on a higher state of alert generally when they're looking for you or fighting you. But they won't know that your buddy is waiting there in the bushes. We actually used this to our advantage in one scenario. My teammate had already pushed far ahead in the small city raid and had been discovered, and was engaging in a firefight with the local militia, and I was a little pissed that he hadn't waited for me to engage the enemy force until I started easily ambushing the reinforcements that were coming into the area, and then it seemed like a brilliant plan. That kind of attack and retreat into a friendly zone of fire is Tactics 101, and it's really cool that the AI functions in such a way as to allow that. As amenable as the game is to them, firefights are the least preferable option. You're not going down in a single hit, but you're not as durable as in your standard cover shooter either. A few shots will have you on your ass, and of course your teammates can help you back up, but that can expose them to enemy fire as well. The bad guys aren't bullet sponges either. At least during the levels available in the closed beta, the bad dudes were going down in one hit to the head and a few to the body or legs. This was at least consistent for the guards. The reinforcements had body armor, and it seemed like headshots with weaker weapons were less likely to result in a one down, and they were tougher overall. That does bring up a question about sponge creep and the degree to which weapon upgrades will be required. The most recent open world game under the Tom Clancy label was The Division, and that game had crazy amounts of scaling. Two different dudes in a hoodie would either die from a harsh glance or kick your ass easily, depending on the number above their heads. And a Beretta 9mm you had at the beginning of the game would be useless compared to a Beretta 9mm that had a level 30 next to its name near the end game. It was a format that mixed realism, tactical movement, taking cover, communication, with looter-shooter mechanics. You were always getting better guns, but the enemies were always getting better to keep the difficulty consistent. Far Cry had a similar weapon unlock system, but there wasn't any counter system. You just slowly got more and more powerful, and at a certain point, nothing could really stop you. Neither of these endgames is incredibly attractive to me, but even after reading some of the promotional material, and after some other critics' experiences of later gameplay, it's still not clear to me what the endgame is going to feel like. I can speculate maybe, in harder regions, the presence of armored vehicles will be more likely. Reinforcing attack helicopters may be far better armed and armored death squads. That would be my vision of how to deal with the endgame. Stealth would become more difficult and more necessary with larger compounds, more guards, interlocking patrol patterns, etc. And failure for stealth would be more brutal and insurmountable. I'm only concerned because given my experience with the beta, this is a game I'm really gonna want to sink my teeth into. The balance of your team versus any given outpost or target was really well played. Wildlands encouraged our player groups to communicate, to plan our attack, and to specialize into roles. It wasn't enough to just have three guys all sneaking in from different angles. We wanted a guy in Overwatch to take out targets the guy on the ground had a bad angle on, targets on higher vantage points, etc. We wanted a designated Recon player to scout the area ahead of the sneaking dude and keep an eye on patrols, which had a potential to get in that player's blind spot. And on later missions, we wanted a designated getaway driver, even a dude in a chopper who would rush in and extract when shit went south. I'm actually having those giddy 14-year-old fantasies again about Wildlands. Okay, Joe, you grab the Recon. I'll be Overwatch, and Noel, you're the grease man. Harvey's gonna airlift us out when we have the target. Stay frosty, guys. Pew, 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 tango down. This is not to say that there weren't some definite issues I ran into while running the beta. The game crashed routinely while I was playing, which was apparently a known issue running several months in the beta previous. I'm not sure why they haven't fixed this issue, as it apparently still persists. The vehicles also have a very strange control style for keyboards. I'm used to the keyboard driving controls being on-off. When you tap a key, it sends the wheel to the furthest possible position in that direction, or at least it's like a very loose yoke. Tapping in Wildlands isn't the way to go, since the wheel term is cumulative. You have to hold the key down for a bit to get the vehicle to turn at its hardest angle. It's more like driving in Euro Truck Simulator than anything else, but with smaller vehicles and higher speeds, and it can feel somewhat wonky. More than wonky were the helicopter controls. It starts out innocent enough. Forwards would be to pitch forwards, shift is throttle, left and right turn the heli, and usually there's a key for banking in there somewhere. Now, in most other games with helicopters, pushing forwards without turning up the throttle will result in a dive. Keeping the throttle up results in forward motion without any dropping, and letting off the forward push makes you gain altitude. In Wildlands, pushing forwards and throttling up make your helicopter lose altitude rapidly while gaining speed. Moreover, there seems to be a soft flight ceiling in some areas, meaning that getting altitude requires totally stopping forward motion and climbing hard. Once you're at your desired altitude, you can kind of just hit forwards to go forwards, and okay, sure, once you've done that, you're golden. It's not a bad system, it's just not what most people, like myself, are used to, and it takes some practice. I don't think I had a single landing that wasn't a pretty hard one. I was interested in Wildlands before playing this beta, and after, well, I'm downright excited. The core mechanics seem solid, the co-op is really fun, there are some technical problems, but I was easily able to overlook them. And while I can't say now if I'm gonna pre-order since I don't really like the practice, I'm gonna do as much as I can to stick myself in Bolivia fighting drug kingpins right there on day one, and when I do, you're gonna hear about it.
Turn right here. Just go off-road, just go down the mountain. I'm watching this happen on the mini-map. Yeah, just make your way to the bottom of the mountain. Then I can navigate ya. Ooh, I have 6 skills available. No pain? Wow. Hit fire spread. I don't want to have these iron sights, I'm only upgrading hit fire spread. I have no skill points left? What the hell?